What's going on, everyone? I'm Chase, and welcome back to another review. And the movie I want to take a look at right now is Eternals. Now, this is the latest film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so let's break this down. The saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations. That is your plot right there. Pretty vague if you ask me, but that's typical Marvel. They keep it pretty close to the vest. But with that plot description, it kind of gives you the promise that they're going to go across many parts throughout time, and that's kind of exciting because you have no idea where it's going to go, what time periods they're going to actually be a part of, and then where they're going to go moving forward. So, all exciting stuff for sure. Going into this, obviously, if you guys know me by now, I like the MCU quite a bit. I'm always looking forward to the next chapter, whether it be new characters like this or another chapter in another established franchise. Like, we got the fourth Thor coming up. Boy, that's going to be a tongue twister. And so, I'm excited to see where they want to take Phase 4 and beyond. And with, Shang-Chi kind of kicking off Phase 4, that was a great movie. Really, at its core, it was like a fantasy film. Even my wife kind of pointed out when we watched it, it kind of felt like Harry Potter, which is really interesting. So, and then this one looks extremely different from everything else we've seen so far yet again. So it seems like Phase 4 is going to be experimental. But I think if you made that much money doing the Infinity Saga, you can kind of do whatever you want at this point. And I trust Kevin Feige to make the right decisions in terms of which characters to pick and which stories to pick moving forward. So, the trailers didn't really give away that much. The pitch that director Chloe Zhao, had to Marvel Studios was, think of this like Prometheus, and instead it is from the perspective of the engineers. Cool. I'm on board. I like Prometheus. I just admitted that. So do with that information what you will. But yes, she wanted it to be like that, and so that got me even more excited. And then the critical reception came, and then the Rotten Tomatoes score came. Then it dipped to Rotten, and then people started freaking out. And then Variety made an article like every 30 minutes about it dropping. Who cares? Who cares about the Rotten Tomatoes score? Honestly, it doesn't sway me either way on any movie I see. But I do find it interesting that this is the most divisive one. And with all that divisiveness online, it has now led you to this point. And what you're doing right now is exactly what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks, and scouring the internet for all types of perspectives on this movie to kind of understand where people are coming from. Whether they loved it, hated it, thought it was okay, or whatever. So let's not waste any more time. Let me tell you right now, after watching this, I am on the side of loving it. I really do. It is something wholly unique for the MCU. It doesn't feel like it goes by the MCU formula whatsoever. There's shades of it for sure, but this is something that is completely out of left field. It's very dialogue heavy, a lot of exposition, a lot of drama in it more than usual. It's a romance at its core. There's little action to it, and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. How is the general public going to take this? I have no clue. Hopefully good. But if it's bad, I appreciate the swing that Marvel Studios took on this. Because, yes, this is going to sound like an oxymoron, but this feels like an independent film. Yes, the budget is in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but everything from the way it feels to the way it kind of unfolds to the way it like takes its time, which is weird because they're under a time crunch in this movie, and it's really huge in scope, but at the core of the entire story, it's about these characters and like what they're going through, and it takes its time and kind of unraveling these characters for us and how they work together, how they work solo, what's going on in their head, everything. And I love that. It's a very reflective piece on the Eternals. They've been alive for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and so it's interesting to kind of get their perspective on like what's going on Earth right now. So, and on top of all that, the consequences and the dire situation that they're in is the most life-threatening thing that I've seen planet Earth go through with this franchise. So that is something as well. So let's start with director Chloe Zhao, because what I think she does is she does add a unique flair to this movie. She adds a breath of fresh air. I like seeing the MCU formulaic stuff. Don't mind it as long as it's well told. I really don't care. But this movie is so off from what they usually do. She really added a simplicity to it and a beauty to it that I found to be quite striking. So, she utilizes a lot of on-set locations. Yes, that is what she's known for, and that adds quite a bit to the story. It feels like there's more weight to the story being on these locations and really feeling the vastness throughout time and history, and these characters going from one location to the other. Like, you feel the scope and the vision that she has for Earth, and it feels massive. It feels like it's bigger than anything they can handle, and I really appreciated that. And that goes hand in hand with the cinematography. Absolutely gorgeous stuff, utilizing wide, beautiful, just organic nature shots, and it really adds to the setting and the mood and the atmosphere, and I really enjoyed that. Second thing that Chloe Zhao did really well was balance the scope of the movie, which is very, very large. Not only are they dealing with a celestial that's telling them what to do, which feels, I can't even comprehend how big the celestial is, but it's a massive being. And also, like, being stuck on Earth throughout all this time, and, them making their impact everywhere they go. That's a lot to handle. And the stakes at the end of this movie are so dire. I was panicking, because I was thinking, like, maybe they won't make it out of this. Maybe something bad is going to actually happen. And of course not. They got to make more movies, but the way it does end, it maybe sets like a precedent for the future on how bad it's going to be. So that's also exciting. But she's dealing with all this stuff, right? With these characters being throughout time, and like being across all scopes of the Earth. That's all great. But what Chloe does really well is make us care about the characters. It's an internal story. It's a very small story at the same time. It deals with this small little group of immortal beings that are going through the trials and tribulations of being human and growing to care about their fellow humans on Earth, because like they're sent to Earth to do a specific mission. They end up falling in love with the species, good and bad, and so they start to develop feelings and kind of understand and be empathetic. And that, to me, is the heart of this film, is to really kind of understand all these beings and how they perceive humans, and how they want to help them or how they're not going to help them. It's just everyone's got different viewpoints. And then also at the same time, you have a romance that's happening. A really, really well done romance. I was actually kind of shocked that they put in that sex scene in a Disney film, in a Marvel film. Good for them. But I like how Chloe's perspective is on romances and just love, and being close with someone else, and like she really kind of captures that warm tenderness and love between these two people. So let's jump into the performances here. I thought, as an ensemble, this was a really interesting blend of actors and actresses that I never would have thought would share the screen together. It just doesn't seem like they would work well, but every single one of them does so well with the chemistry between them as a group and their solo performances. I was kind of blown away. Like, Chloe Zhao really pulled some great performances out of these actors to make us really care even more about people that can't even die. I mean, they can die, but like they are still immortal at the end of the day. So it's gonna be hard to care about things or people that don't have a expiration date and they can live forever. So you have to make them interesting. You have to really write them well, but also have these performances that are just kind of so powerful that you believe every single thing that they say, and you're really just kind of entranced by their performances. And I really do think that everyone does a great job inhabiting their characters and really utilizing this world and just playing around in it, and it feels right. It feels like everyone that was casted well. Jim Chan as the main character, and even Richard Madden as the kind of almost co-lead. They, first of all, they have dynamite chemistry. You can really feel that love between them, and that really helps their romance story at the core of this film. But also, they're just great leaders for the ensemble as well. Angelina Jolie doesn't have too many moments, but she kicks ass. She's just a movie star. I mean, she has shown us throughout many films that she can do action really well, but also kind of play with the drama a little bit as well. Like I said, there's not much, but I think what she does is acceptable for sure. Salma Hayek, she's really not in it that much either, but she makes an impact, and I really appreciate that. Kit Harington is not in it that much, but I'm excited to see where he goes in the future. Kumail Nanjiani, a standout when it comes to the comedic relief, while also having a very compelling story, and just kind of seeing where he chose to be on Earth after they were done fighting the deviants, and he wanted to go off and do his own thing. That was really interesting to see where he went, because I'd probably do the same thing and be in the entertainment space. So good for him. But yes, I really appreciate his kind of comedic relief that was desperately needed in a lot of scenes, considering this is very heavy dramatically. So Liam Mchugh plays Sprite, the small one. That performance to me was probably one of my favorites, next to another one, next to another couple I'm going to mention. But she really kind of brought this this perspective of always being a kid and never really being treated like an adult, and like how that bothers her, and how she never really fits in with certain people. Like, I get that, it's something that all kids go through, and I think when you're an immortal being and you're coming to Earth and you're trying to do all your missions and stuff, you're going to kind of pick up on that, and you're going to start to develop that type of emotional pattern of feeling left out and not feeling like you're one of the group because you're a kid, and like the age difference and everything. So a really great performance from her. I really enjoyed hers. Brian Tyree Henry, also really great. He does what he's also comedic relief, but he also has a couple moments that really kind of affect his character and everything. But other than that, not really like a standout for me. Lauren Ridloff, she was wonderful. She plays a deaf superhero, which is interesting. I don't think we've seen that in major cinema before. But I loved her performance so much, because she was just someone who, she played by her own rules. She was very independent, and she broke off from the group a couple times, and like you can just feel like she'd be fine, and like she just there was a warmness to her when she was in the group. Like, she was kind of like the glue to the whole entire group. So really enjoyed her. Barry Keoghan, probably my favorite, as Druid. This man right here, the impact that he has in all of his movies that he does, it's just outstanding. He knows the assignment, he delivers it, and he does it in spades to where like you just want to watch him for like 2 hours straight. He is definitely my favorite performance of the film, and he even has a relationship with Lauren Ridloff's character, which is also sweet and charming. So I appreciate that. Ma Dong Seok, Gilgamesh, he kind of plays the kind of Hulk character. He he does well. Without spoiling anything, I wish I could see more. I'll just say that. But yes, it's a very, very dense movie when it comes to the cast and the story, and there's a lot going on, and I understand why people might be turning against it and saying like it doesn't cover as much as it should, and like it feels kind of flat and it really doesn't deliver. Just for me personally, I think everything kind of came together and it worked out just fine. The threat level of the villain and Earth almost being destroyed that I could not believe they took it to that brink. So that was really great to see. It moves along the MCU in a way that I don't think we're gonna expect, because it's gonna get way more deep into the space trenches with characters and everything. So that's exciting. It was a really great reflective film about what they've done to society and how they are interpreting themselves. It was really great to kind of see them be reflective on certain points in history, and how at some points they feel like the bad guys. So that's what's really great about the Eternals. They're kind of in that kind of gray zone a little bit, but I still care about their journey, and I care about like what they do, and they're just trying to figure it out as they go, because there's someone controlling them at the same time, so they're also trying to figure that out. And so I really liked the dynamic between all the characters, and then I like the romance and the action sequences. I forgot to mention those. Those were also really well done, really utilizing everyone's powers. Someone's got speed, someone's got super strength, someone can shoot laser beams out of their eyes and they're super strong, and one can conjure up objects. So everyone's got their unique skill pattern, and it really is effective in all the fights. Really great to see. I know a lot of people are sharing around stills of the movie saying the CGI is terrible. Yes, is some of the green screen work a little funky and it's not believable whatsoever? Yes, but that's not enough to downgrade a movie for me. But the action sequences and the CGI really well done, especially in that third act, bonkers stuff. And seeing that on IMAX was jaw dropping. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about is the music. I know I've been rambling, but the music is spectacular. It's from the same gentleman that is Game of Thrones, Westworld, and it kind of feels like Game of Thrones. And we have 2 Game of Thrones stars in this film. It's very epic, it's sweeping, and it really just adds another emotional layer to the story and like what's going on. So score is outstanding. One of my faves of the MCU for sure. So that is my conclusion of Eternals. A lot to unpack. Sorry to just kind of dump everything on you, but it is what it is. So let me know down below what you thought of the movie. I loved it. Can't wait to see it again. I'm seeing it a couple more times. And I'm really curious to see how general audiences are going to take this, because it does not play like a normal MCU film, so we'll see. But I appreciate the risk that everyone at Marvel Studios took. For me personally, it worked. So that will be my review for Eternals. So let me know down below, like I said. And that will do it for this review. I'm Chase Lee, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.